Trickling in of what's expected to unfold in the parliament today, we're learning that the Bharatiya Janata Party is to raise the issue of AgustWestland, the issue in both houses of parliament today. Let's go across to my colleague Paulami joining us with further details. The strategy of the BJP here is to raise the issue of AgustWestland in both houses. Is it, Paulami?
That's right. The BJP has, in fact, several members of their parliament from the BJP party have, in fact, submitted notices in both houses of parliament. At least in the Lok Sabha, we can tell you that those notices have not come up in the draw, so they won't get a legitimate opportunity to raise the AgustWestland issue. But of course, the way circumstances have been since November 16, you can totally expect a possibility of the BJP MPs standing up and creating a ruckus and trying to raise the AgustWestland issue in the din of the House as has been seen. And this specifically, of course, they're going hammer and tongs at the Congress because yesterday Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi alleged corruption against no less than the Prime Minister of India. And hence, the BJP will be, in fact, raking up corruption scams against the Congress party. And the most latest of those that seem to allegedly point fingers at the Congress party, especially after the arrest of former Air Chief Marshal S.P. Tyagi, is the AgustWestland scam and the possible references to Congress leaders in the diaries of middlemen Hashke and James Kristen Michel.
Right. So, scam versus corruption charges in the parliament today. This would also, in effect, mean, Paulami, that we could see yet another day of a complete washout, and that would mean this entire winter session of parliament would be a washout.
Absolutely. That is something that we can virtually say out pretty loudly now, that this session is virtually washed out. Both sides absolutely adamant about not allowing any kind of discussion to take place, any kind of legislative business to be transacted. The opposition only agreed to allow for the rights of disabled persons to be bill to be passed yesterday in the Rajya Sabha, so that it could be taken up within the Lok Sabha, and within these 2 days it could be passed and moved as an act. But that's about it. That's the only consent that they gave to, and both sides have been extremely rigid about their positions. And of course, those stands have become even more rigid after those very serious charges that Rahul Gandhi raised against Prime Minister Modi.
Okay, Paulami, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for joining us with those details. A quick reaction there from Madhav as well. Madhav, this is the strategy that BJP is now going to counter the Congress and the opposition with, especially after Rahul Gandhi raked up the issue of personal corruption against the Prime Minister. We're learning, Madhav, that the BJP will raise the issue of AgustWestland in both houses of the parliament. So scam versus...
It's going to be scam versus scam in the parliament. Clearly, of course, as far as AgustWestland, that seems to be the strategy as far as BJP goes. Sudesh Verma, offense is the best form of defense. And certainly it seems that the BJP raising AgustWestland at this point of time is to counter whatever Rahul Gandhi may be attempting to say.
You see, every time such issues come up in public domain, we are bound to raise it. Because AgustWestland is not just an issue of corruption, it's also an issue of conniving with defense officials, making the entire system rot in the sense that you are manipulating, compromising countries' interests, security interests. So the issue has to be understood with a wider ramification, and why every link goes to 10 Janpath, to Italy. That is also the issue, because Italian court, you have seen 3 names have appeared there. Correct. Sonia Gandhi's name has come. There are some names like AP. Who is AP? All these things are matters of investigation, and I'm sure that the CBI would be able to establish money trade. Whenever you talk about Sonia Gandhi, Congress gets disturbed, but that is the fact. You can't help about it.
Right. A lot of political links to this entire case. And if you're talking about corruption, then why should you not face the heat on AgustWestland?
Well, one thing I'm glad to notice is that the BJP is visibly desperate and disturbed enough by Rahulji's revelations that they have to resort to these diversionary tactics. I will also say the one thing the BJP does better than us is spin and propaganda. Isn't it a coincidence that every time the narrative seems to be slipping out of their hands, one of these, it's either Augusta or Robert Vadraji or somebody or the other, that suddenly seems to crop up. Sir, we'll say what we've said to you again and again. Please investigate AgustWestland. Don't ask them to participate in Make in India. Don't give them clean sheets. Please go ahead and investigate them. We are standing behind you. Find the guilty, put them to book. But alas, you haven't done so in 3 years. I don't think you'll do it in the next 2 either. That's our point.
Right. Important points that have been raised there as far as Augusta is concerned from the Congress's side, saying that the action on part of the government is not commensurate to the promise that the Modi government was elected on.
It's not correct. We have been in power only for 2.5 years, but you can see the CBI, about which the Supreme Court had said when the UP was in power that it was a caged parrot. You had seen that even the report that was supervised by Supreme Court was shown to the minister, Mr. Ashwini Kumar. and it was vetted, and the court has raised objections to that. So after we came to power, CBI is acting independently on its own investigation. They have been able to nab Mr. Tyagi and other two people in the Augusta Westland deal, and we are happy that.